He's walking in right now.
Cool.
He was at a meeting at City.
Okay, cool. Well, first of all, I wanna thank each and everyone for making that time to be here. I know we've been busy the last couple of months. Some have made it, some haven't made it, but I wanna thank you for being here today. It's gonna be our last meeting of the year, and, like I said, it's hard serving on boards, but we try our best. Anyways, I would like to call this meeting to order, and I need roll call.
You gave me the list off.
I'll do it. Carlos Blanco, here. Okay. Onesimo Onyx Benavides.
Here.
Okay, district number 2 is vacant, which we don't have, 0. Ricardo A. Solis. Did he mention anything new? Okay, we'll see.
What's the meeting every day?
I'm here, Margarito is president. Jorge Dominguez?
I'm here.
Okay, he's present. Eduardo Ochoa, we'll wait for Eduardo, he might show up.
Right there.
Okay, Eddie, you're here?
Sorry.
Reinaldo Vélez?
Present.
Present. Luis Ramirez? Okay, not here. Arturo Garcia will be here in a minute, he just walked in.
You only need to do the board members.
Oh, okay. I wanted to do everyone.
Okay, you can.
You do it. You're the chair, you do whatever.
No, because I was getting to Angelica.
There you go.
It's because I was getting to Angelica, that's why.
Oh, that's all
I'll
that
just wait. No, that's all it matters. We're good. Thank you, Mika. The approval of the minutes of the previous meeting, we need a motion.
Motion.
There's a
Second.
motion to the floor by Mr. Blanco and a second by Mr. Dominguez. Any questions on the previous minutes before we vote on it? No, we're good? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion passes. Now let's get into item number 4. Mr. Garcia just showed up and he's here. I'm happy to see you, Mr. Garcia.
Thank you.
Let's go into number 4, communication. Oh, and Mr. Solis is present today. See me. Okay, ready? Oh, Mr. Solis, you can sign? Yes. Y luego se la pasas a él.
Okay, communication. I guess those of you that have seen the videos from the council meetings, excuse me if I start coughing, but I have this little tickle in my throat.
I just got over to get over it.
He's had it forever.
I know, I was up to 2.5 weeks.
No, he's had it for months.
When you go to the doctor and he says, man, you look bad. And it does all the swabbing and come back and there's nothing wrong with it. So give me some drugs, no?
If they don't want to give you.
Dayquil, NyQuil, and Mucinex, all over the counter, that's it. But I'm 2.5 weeks.
I guess the secondary water is an issue that they want me to follow up, and I know the other one is making contact with people and cities up and down between Falcon and Amsterdam to be able to develop a memorandum of understanding with these groups to be able to come up with a regional solution to our, to deal with the drought and the issues that we have. Anything happens to the river. The other one is the water conservation, the dire state, to promote, less use of water, which, you gotta understand, less water we use, less revenues that we get. So that means our rate structure changes. But those are the things that we need to discuss with them. We already did an RFQ for a consultant to do a new rate study. So we're going to be working towards that. I'm looking at also updating some of the reports for the hydrogeology of the area, to find out if we can have a reservoir to where we can store this water, secondary water. I'm looking at also developing alluvial groundwater wells near the edge of the river. In other words, tap the water that's underneath the river. Something that we can use, you know, because it's a project that I can build within the next year or two. So that if anything happens along the river, I can at least tap the water underneath the river section. And then the other one is, we've got Legacy Water Supply Corporation that's doing their project to see how we can have an interconnect. There's a project with Webb County where they're doing improvements to their plant and a distribution line or a transmission line that they're gonna build, which we can have as an interconnect to feed the areas to the south. You know, just different interconnects. And the idea of an interconnect is to be able to have another source to feed our system that's other than our plants. So that's just, you know, good planning for the system. But those are the communications that I have to date. We're working towards that to, I guess, address the needs that the council has as far as secondary water conservation and dealing with the drought.
Real quickly, well, thank you for the info, but, so we kind of put, kind of on a standby when we started about 6 months ago. And I know we've been busy because of budget, hearings and all that. Have we made contact with other local individuals or we?
Very minimal, very small, like Eagle Pass, maybe I've made calls to Del Rio, I've made, you know, other counties, just to kind of get an idea, to open the door. But I need to develop this MOU, because what I want to be able to do is for us as a group to not be controlled by all these small communities.
Yes.
Because they can vote on something, say everybody has an equal vote, then we're stuck playing a major portion of that infrastructure.
Yes.
So I want it to be based on the need. If we're only gonna take 10 million gallons out of, say, a 90 million gallon project, so we should only be responsible for that portion of it. And the other communities need to pay their part. So it needs to be fair and equitable. And that's why I want to set up the MOU. And that's, I've been talking to legal, Joaquin Rodriguez has been helping me, and I tell him this is what I want to be able to do, is to have something that we're not being controlled by the small communities, because that can happen. And I've seen that happen in other areas, where all these small communities band together and they say, hey, let's
Get the big guy.
get the big guy to pay for it.
Yeah. I like Joaquin. He's a very smart little kid. Met him when he was in diapers, so very, very smart little kid. So we're very happy that we have him on board, so.
And I always want to push that we don't want to just have one source, we want to have multiple sources.
Yes, sir.
Because we don't want to be putting all our eggs in one basket.
Oh, no, you don't want me. Any other questions, people, or?
Let me just make a comment,
Sure.
if I may.
Comments, yeah.
You mentioned that the county is updating their plan, and they're also looking for a second source, an additional source of water. Is that gonna be parallel to what we are developing?
Well, that's
Independent?
that's something that as a region, we want to be able to address in this cog that we set up, where all of us together are talking about this and see what is the big solution for the whole group.
Because the city of Laredo eventually is gonna be adding extraterritorial and bring them into the limits of the city. So what's gonna happen as to who owns what? Are we gonna go ahead and take over the lines that they might add? I understand they want to bring water to some of the colonias, Mr. Chairman, the county. And there has been a debate as to who's gonna be handling the management of that particular money. And I have been pushing with our representatives that the city of Laredo gets that money and actually manage that money. Why? Because when we add more area to the city of Laredo, then we don't have to deal with infrastructure that might be not as good as what we have. That's happened in previously. So I think, Mr. Chairman, it would be a good idea that we can address that situation, try to get more information on what they're doing versus what we're doing. And if we at one point can take over what they want to do in the idea to have something that we can control, not only in the future, but the design, development, equipment.
But you're talking more or less like what Tiendas is, all right?
Well, you know that, yeah, that we got, we're gonna be sending water to not only to East Laredo, but to South Laredo, and also to west, east, and South Laredo.
Yeah, but what I'm talking about is the state came into this, right? So if you correct me if I'm wrong, where Tiendas was a grant, but the city actually controls that.
Just like Pueblo Nuevo.
Yeah, and Tiendas is not
It's a
a
good
city,
example,
all
Pueblo Nuevo.
right? That's what I'm getting, so that's what you're talking about. And I don't know, do we have that?
Well, Pueblo Nuevo was managed by the city of Laredo, and
Yeah,
and they comply with a lot of the requirements. But we have like Las Lomas. Las Lomas, there's money that is coming in to try to repay a lot of the colonias. But the idea is to try to bring the infrastructure before we pay. So we don't have to remove the pavement and then run the lines.
Would we be involved in Laredo 16 miles out?
Well, that's
Yeah.
exactly what I was mentioning, Hans, that if we can get involved right now, when we bring that into Laredo, eventually Laredo is gonna bring that into the limits of the city. So why bring, and excuse the expression, why bring crap when we can get involved and bring good stuff to Laredo?
And what's good is that the state, they all still have to meet the safe drinking water requirements.
Yeah.
So they're building to these standards. It's just a matter of whether the county or will they be able to operate
Inspection.
the inspection.
Operate and maintain.
Or maintain it.
The inspection during construction, because we know county does not have the inspectors, the manpower. They don't.
Neither do we.
Well, we have it, but it takes us, well, we have too much.
We're a bigger corporation, which we do, you know, if we keep on growing, because of course, we need to hire people.
Yeah.
You know,
The
but,
numbers.
you know, at the end of the day, I think that, I mean, you're right, we need to take control, and that's what Mr. Garcia mentioned a while ago, that we want to do that.
Let me wrap it up real quick.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman. So that being said, Arturo, if we can try to communicate with the county and tell them, look, the board feels that we need to know how you're gonna handle it.
Okay.
Do you have the people that are gonna inspect it? Do you have the people that are gonna approve it? Who's gonna, once we get there, are we gonna get something that in paper and say, well, it was inspected, or when they say, well, there was no inspector, so we felt that it was good.
Well, what's
That
good
wraps
is
it
that
up.
this is being funded through certain funds that require certain things be met.
Yes.
Engineering standards and construction standards. So that's a benefit. So
Yes.
certain Ts have to be crossed, certain Is have to be dotted. So that helps us. So I'm confident in the infrastructure because the state has seen what's happened in the past, or the federal government, so they know what needs to be done. So that's where I see, it's just a matter of the operation and maintenance. It's gonna be an issue, and that's where I think, then I have the discussions with the county regarding how are you gonna deal with this in the next 10 years.
Because the county right now is in the water business, Cenizo, at Rio Bravo, is it Pueblo Nuevo also, but not in Tiendas. And Tiendas is a bigger community than most of those, because it's turning into an industrial park, you know, and I know being in real estate, I tell people, I said, yeah, there's water there, but it's earmarked for residential. Someday, somebody's gonna drop the hammer, and everybody's using commercial water out here. It's gonna be turned off, because the grant was not for commercial. It was
And
for-
real quick, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Can I say something? That's a very good point.
Yeah,
You know, that we gotta be careful.
yeah, right.
We have to be careful.
Yeah.
Because you made a very good point.
Mhm.
The grant was especially for something, and
It's turned into, I mean, it's an industrial park, as far as I'm concerned.
so we,
Just a quick comment. Los Botines.
Yeah, that's what, what he did, that's Camina right now is on its own, it's all water, well water. There's no, you know, they have an association and all that, very, very tough association, but they don't have a water
So with
system.
the new law that passed the state, that's gonna be covered.
That can be changed.
Thank you.
That's what I'm getting at.
That's-
But they're okay, because they're in the Caribou Sands over there.
That was my comment, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dominguez, very well taken. Any other comments?
I have a quick question. You mentioned,
Ready?
drilling it for a well or drilling underneath the Rio Grande?
The alluvial wells. What I'm trying to do is find the water that's underneath the river, because there's water in the water table. It'll be an immediate access for me, because once the level of, say the river were to go down, I need to be able to tap what's underground. So it's just being
How deep
prepared.
is that?
Well, that's what I'm gonna be doing a
I
study,
figured that.
so that I know what is the depth of that well that I need to be able to still keep feeding the plants. It's just in case the river gets low.
That's the tough.
I want to be prepared. That's all. It's just a, what I call a drought resiliency plan.
I'm familiar with this one.
Well, thank you very much, Arturo, for being in the forefront of trying to address issues that we're gonna have in the future. You know, it takes people like you that know exactly what the citizens and us, some of us, don't know. And I want to thank you for being very open-minded
Thank you.
for our community, our constituents.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Regarding to item number 4, communications? No? Anybody else? No? Everybody happy? Awesome. Number 5, Amistad Water Partnership.
That's the regional
Yeah.
The one we were
group that
talking
we
about.
discussed.
Yeah.
But pretty much, I'm trying to develop a timeline. In fact, earlier today, I was with the city manager and the assistants. And we were discussing that I need to develop a timeline when things are expected, because I know council, they want a quick turnaround, but it's gonna take time. So hopefully that timetable is gonna be about a year before we have something definitive. So I just need to develop that timeline and submit it so that council knows these are the target dates that we're gonna meet. So,
Who's involved in the partnership?
well, that's what we're gonna be developing. It's gonna be people within the Rio Grande watershed, the Rio Grande, which is gonna be the US side. Eventually, it's gonna be bidimensional, because you also wanna talk to the other side. Because, you know, that's where IBWC
They
gets.
play under different rules.
Yeah.
This is, I'm sorry, I want to intervene and say, that's why I recommended Mr. Martinez, but Julio, because Bert at one time was involved with trying to do something with the water. And he knows some people on that side, so he would be really an asset to the board, because, you know, I tell everybody, and I'm just gonna say this, guys. Sometimes we don't like certain politicians for whatever reason, but I love it when people get the phone and call Washington. I love it when people get the phone and call Mexico. You know, I might hate you, Arturo, you know, but if you have the power to get the phone and call Washington and call Mexico, man, I need you.
Yeah.
You know, we should leave our everything aside.
Personally.
You know, everything should be done according, for the betterment of the citizens, you know. And that's why I go back to Bert, you know, he knows people up in Mexico, he knows people in Washington, and that's why I recommended his name to you. And there's other good people out there that we know.
And that's,
So if you all know of very good people out there, guys, please, tell Mr. Garcia, people that could really help us out, mention the name, and, because I mentioned 2 or 3 names to him, and very good people. And I'm not gonna go there, but he knows. And anyway,
Who was here pre-COVID?
no, you
For the high school.
know,
I
I think it'll COVID.
We came in, I think I was.
Where I'm going is that this ball here has been rolling for quite a while.
Yeah.
We've had, how many groups come in and propose the solar water?
I'll say, in my time that I've been here, I've seen maybe 5 groups.
For that? Yeah, presentations, believe me, this is something that he and I have been around seeing for quite a while. And I hear your words that the city council is listening, amen, because this is not something that just started today. The concern has been, we talked about Simon.
Simon, yeah, that 40 years ago, yeah.
That's 40 years ago. And Laredo has not quit growing. I mean, I'm in real estate, I go to South Laredo for whatever reason in 3 months, and I can drive over and go, what the, another colonia, and pipelines being extended, we're talking about having the water. So yes, we are at the preface that we need to move, yeah. You know, and we've been rolling this ball back and forth for 5 years.
Well, I'm gonna be here 5 years.
Yeah, 5 years.
Absolutely, please.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
So, if I can ask a question real quick regarding to both of your comments. I understand that there's gonna be a grant for the improvements in Nuevo Laredo's plant. Now, in any way, are we gonna have an input, I mean we, the city of Laredo, as to what they're gonna do? Because I understand that they're releasing some of the black water, you call it black water, and directly into the river. So that affects us, because we pick them up and then we have to reclaim that. Are you involved with that? Is the city of Laredo gonna be involved
Well,
with that, or no, Arturo?
The agency, us as a city, we provide comments in some of the groups discussions, the binational discussions that we have.
Right,
And that is one of the key points that RISC, the group, the environmental group that we have here,
right.
that is always promoting. IBWC is also promoting because we're trying to improve the water quality. Mexico sees the key issue. In fact, we went to a symposium where that was being discussed. The big issue as far as volume of water is that they have no control over the wells that are being placed, the use of the water.
Yes.
Because that's where the 1944 treaty that they discussed, you know, they owe us that water every 5-year cycle. So, but now they're modeling the use of the water along the Rio Grande between Mexico and the US, and they're seeing how they can plan for that delivery. So that's something new. They're kind of trying to copy what happened in the Colorado, because that model sent to work well, but now they're trying to apply it here in the Rio Grande. So there's discussion now between Mexico and the US. So IBWC is working on that. And then you got the Rio Grande Water Master that's doing the maintenance on it and stuff. And there are some issues that the dam there has to be corrected. There's structural issues that, and I think that's being addressed. And in fact, one of the issues that I'm gonna make when we go to our DC trip, if I get to go, is that we need to put money into Amistad. It's the 12th largest dam that we have here, and it's something that we need to take care of. Well, we need to put attention to it.
Yes, I agree.
Because we only have two years of storage in that. 2 years.
Hard to believe, right?
Yeah. But we need more than that, and we need to fix it and keep it,
Oh.
because we don't want it to fail.
You brought up a word a second ago, it's a well. I'm encountering large ranches being bought, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 acres, and then just subdivided down to 50-acre tracts, and everybody and their grandmother wants a water well. The water well guys are backlogged to a year and a half before they get to you. When are we gonna wake up and put a stop to it? You know, because they're drilling the water that we're gonna need, and it's hard to fathom. I mean, I'm out there. You might see a windmill here, a windmill there. Now you got solar wells all over the place. They got no problem. That solar well. And what irks me is that they're willing to run a well day and night to fill a stock tank that won't hold water. Just because you put a hole in the ground doesn't mean that it's gonna hold water. And so the ones I run into, I said, you need to go to NRCS and find out whether you got clay in the ground. Why? Oh, Jesus Christ. You know, so that's a big issue. I'm not the only one that sells ranches in South Texas. And everybody, the people that got money are buying 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 acre, and everybody wants a well. So at what point is your well, that you set at 325 feet gonna be going down where there's no water there anymore? And then you got the Eagle Ford and the fracking and how much water they take and everything else, and people building ponds. This is, it's a monster.
Oh, yes.
I'll leave it with that, it's a monster.
Who regulates that? I've heard stories, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, go ahead. And,
I've heard
I'll-
stories of, I'm sorry.
No, I'll go after you.
Okay, I've heard stories of, this guy
Touching the
that,
sore subject.
that was working, security at one of the ranches out there in past Mines Road, right? And he was telling me that, they have pumps running from the river, they're drafting from the river for the rigs, and they're going.
Nobody knows about it.
Yeah, I mean, so who's regulating
Devin
that?
needs to know about it.
Yeah.
The water master is supposed to regulate that.
Yeah, there's only
They have
one guy.
investigated.
I know, but noting those need to be reported to the water master so that they can see it, because that's taking our source.
Yeah.
If they're not regulated, because if they have to have a permit from the water master.
We've talked about this before. I mean, 30 years ago, maybe less, or in that area, we go down to Brownsville and go all the way down to the river, and there was water going into the ocean. But now there's nothing, you can drive back and forth. There's no, it doesn't get there. And look at the valley. I mean, when you look at the valley on a satellite at night, there's a hell of a lot of people out there, and we're just a little blip. They're needing all the water, and eventually, and they have control, eventually they're gonna choke us down. I mean, he who has the power, has the ear, yeah. So,
Well, I'm sorry, but getting back to what you said.
And regulating, yeah.
Yeah, so my question would be to you, Mr. Garcia, like, right now, like Onyx says, here comes, I wasn't gonna mention my name, but I'm gonna mention Mr. Blanco. You know, he's richer than me, so Mr. Blanco comes and says, wanna buy a 1,000-acre ranch. And getting back to Onyx, comment, his land doesn't have any clay on it, and he's gonna build a humongous, tank out there, and he's gonna be running that solar power
yeah.
to fill it up, and day and night, day and night.
Day and night.
So, you mentioned that there's only one guy that, but do they need a permit?
Well, when you dig a well, yes, it's through the state.
Well, so I'm
Now,
saying the pond, I'm talking about the pond.
even the
No,
po-
Even the pond,
The impoundment, technically, yes, because you affect water quality, because there's the groundwater districts, management districts.
Okay, so you
No,
got
I'm thinking about a
land,
pond.
you got land, I've got.
Yeah,
land.
yeah.
Okay,
It's just for.
you have the ability to call somebody, to dig me a hole in the ground. Need a permit for that?
To dig a well,
No,
No.
Dig a hole, you gotta dig a hole, you don't need it.
to make a pond.
no,
So I was gas so bring your bulldozer, dig me an acre.
yeah,
14 feet deep. And there's sand rock and there's porous and all this stuff. And they don't know it's not gonna hold water. And the guy don't care that's digging the hole. He's getting paid for digging the hole. And but the state, he gives you a permit for the well. State doesn't know what you're gonna use that water for. Maybe, consumption. Yeah, an acre, 14 feet deep, takes a hell of a lot of water.
I'm hoping that people that are building these wells and stock ponds are putting liners, because they're gonna wanna preserve that water.
Oh, yes,
They
sir.
wanna just.
Yes, sir. The liner is free.
Yeah, well, so right now,
No,
so, I'm
no.
sorry, so right now.
What's the other chemical that they put in the ground?
Bentonite?
Yeah, yeah. So right now, there's no control over that.
So this is
Forget the
a,
pond, okay.
this is
Not gonna hold any water.
Forget the pond.
Don't do the, put a Trump out there and you have water purification.
Anyways,
They don't do that. Everybody wants a pond to fish and everything else, you know, but then, yeah, I mean, and so everybody builds a, look at La Lomas. Every 5 acres got a pond on it, and all the water that runs off, fills this one, fills this one, fills this one, the one at the far end, dang, I didn't get there.
I'm one of those.
You're one of those, okay.
Yeah, I mean, no, you're not.
What you weren't getting at, the
Then my neighbor just-
Colonia's in the flood zone. So everybody's got a creek going through their property, whether they want to or not, okay? And that's what I'm getting at. This is just not about one issue. It is a multitude of issues that I'm sorry, you must be old, you sound like you gotta shut up. I'm gonna drink some water.
Primo, tómele el agua. Anyways, well, I wanna thank you for bringing those, important comments.
When I first saw a bottle of water in Carrizo Springs back in the '70s on the shelf, I said, who the hell's gonna buy a bottle of water? Well, here I am buying quite a
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to thank you and Mr. Vélez for making the comments regarding the, you know, the water and any other, getting back to the agenda item, the Amistad water.
Just real quick, is there any direction or assistance you need from us initiating this Amistad Water Partnership? Because I know Councilman King is kind of pushing it, right?
Yeah, he's the one pushing it, and I think just developing the contact with other, since you work with a lot of other,
Areas, I guess.
just identifying the contacts would help.
Okay.
You know, if there's a resource that can be available, because I know I'm working with the attorney, our city attorney, to develop that format on the MOU, and then start sending it out, and start seeing the interest.
And you're wanting to hit up
Right, that's what, but you can ask the question.
the counties, like which county, I
The
guess?
counties, everyone that's within the,
How far south are we anticipating to go and how far north?
well, down to Falcon
Okay,
and up to Amistad.
up to Valverde.
Good.
So Del Rio is,
You want me to finish, but really being some more Villarreal?
Ahorita sí.
When are we gonna get our third lake that was adjudicated in 1952? I used to hear that every day.
The Weir project,
No, not the, no.
Well, the weird project's still over.
A lake on Dolph Briscoe's property. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
yes, sir. It was adjudicated in 19, I learned that one from him. It was adjudicated.
Let me ask you a question real quick.
So it was a three-lake deal.
I know you're the chairman of the planning advisory board at the county, or do you?
No, they ran me off.
You're
No,
not
they did
there.
away with it. They did away with it.
That was my second one.
Yeah, they did away with it.
So there's no.
The commissioners are all, there's no input from anybody else except the planning, but directly to the, yeah. Yeah, no, I was there, what, 12? We were
Well,
there.
address it with it. We need it.
We were there for quite a while.
What happened is that that's a very important part where.
That's communication point.
Yeah,
That's exactly.
Yeah.
And that about the inspections and about people drilling without any.
But that's
We
what I'm
used to
saying,
go to-
do we, as a body, go to the state and say, you need to do more than just give a permit? We need to regulate our county, we need to regulate our area, we need, all of us, not just Webb, everybody from Amistad down to Brownsville, need to regulate, because everybody is doing it, and it tears me up. I mean, just.
Well, that can be, to me, it seems like we're focusing on legislative efforts.
Yeah.
I think we need to have a topic in our.
That's what I'm getting, the
Legislative
legislative
efforts.
effort, take it to the state.
State level and
say,
sea level,
Yeah.
yeah.
But we need
Because-
to start at the county level.
county level.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting
Yeah,
at.
we need to start the
You have
fire
to.
there. That's why I
The
asked.
county jurisdiction is outside of our ETJ, right? It's all
Yes.
there. But what are they doing? Nothing. They're just seeing more revenue in taxes, because now you have 50 acres that are no longer ag, that are being taxed at 1,500 or 1,800 an acre when they were getting $1.68 an acre, now they're getting, et cetera, et cetera. This is a big ass snowball, man, excuse me.
And what happened,
I
is that,
get excited over it, because I'm not gonna be here much longer, but you are. And you're the ones gonna suffer the consequences.
The
And
kids-
your kids are gonna suffer, my kids.
The kids are
I got a
suffering.
17-year-old that I worry about. What's his environment gonna be in 30 years? 30 years, I'll be long dead, all right? But you see the monster that we're at in South Texas continues to grow, continues to grow.
I'm gonna add on this comment really quick. So I have a small property right by the Rio Grande, right? I've had it for 4 or 5 years. And I go out there and fish. And when I started going out there to right now, I've noticed a significant drop in the
Water level.
Yeah.
Well, this is cyclical, okay? The droughts are cyclical, okay? That's not always like right now. That's why we're sick, to them much mold in the air and everything else, we're not used to it. But I've been on Falcon Jesus, okay, as long as I've been alive, I guess. And I've seen the lake up in people's properties, and I've seen the lake where it's a ribbon all the way down to the dam. I've seen where the water can't even get out of the dam anymore. And you don't think the valley's worried about it? So this is cyclical. So
But that's a reservoir.
But it's getting worse.
Yeah, but the lake is a reservoir. I'm
Yeah.
talking about the river itself.
I'm talking that what feeds the lake.
The river.
Yeah, I mean, the lake, the river.
That's controlled by Amistad.
By Amistad.
Gates.
Amistad.
How much they let out.
I know because around March, April, the level will go up.
Yeah, because they have to
Yeah.
release because of snow melt,
Yeah.
of what snow melts that we're getting. That's what I'm saying, this is not just, let's go find some water for Laredo. This is a South Texas problem, and this initiative that you got has to have this kind of vigor behind it, because it's not something that we can, okay, yeah, well, that's a good idea, let's go have lunch and talk about it. And it's, we have to really kick this can down the road and get it done, because what you're talking about that, I mean, I'm a fisherman at heart. I fished canyons that were 210 feet deep, full of water in Amistad. And then I've been there when I go, just like Lake Mead.
Oh, yeah.
And all these lakes, you see these white cliffs and no water in them. I mean, we're not the only ones.
Right.
It's, yeah, oh,
They
man.
find dead bodies.
Cars and people still have them.
Cars.
But that's what I'm getting at.
Ron, did you see the one where the guy was putting the?
It was still on the slot. But what I'm getting at is somewhere it has to be a catalyst to get this thing rolling. And it starts with us, to the state will get to the Fed, you know, and it's gonna get there. It's just like when I got my irrigation meter in Del Mar Sea. This is back in 06, 08, nothing. So my water bill is $600-700 a month on pecan trees and everything else. So somebody said, get an irrigation meter. Oh, really? So I come and apply for one, and I got that last one in Del Mar Sea. That was 15 years ago, 16 years ago. If you apply for an irrigation meter in Del Mar Sea, apparently you can have so many. So that was back then. So you see what I'm getting at? And we can continue talking about this all we want. We need to take a big old hammer, knock down the door, and move.
Well, I just want to commend you on that, Mr. Garcia, you have another project, for next meeting, for the legislative, maybe we could work on something, and we could, if the guys, the board, if we're all in agreement.
I'm in favor.
Yeah, if we're all in favor, I really want to commend you all for being very open-minded, and not only being open-minded, but being very, taking an interest in our water supply. So, Eddie, thank you. Any more questions? You're working on your contacts already?
I've got a few going up that way, but I don't have all the counties.
Good, thank you.
We'll get some names, yeah.
Thank you. I know you're a hard worker and you're involved with so many things that takes a lot of your time, but yeah, thank you, Mr. Garcia.
No, thank you for
Any other,
your leadership.
yeah, and you were gonna say something? Welcome.
Well, the only, in fact, something that I ran across, I was reading an article yesterday regarding Amistad. There's a well that feeds Amistad, and it was flowing back in 1968, 98 million gallons a day. And it was water that was coming through an artesian well, and it's still there. There's a cave, there's a formation down there, probably close to about 700 feet deep.
Now I want to make a few.
What?
I could take it to 2 or 3 spots on Amistad where there's a whirl where the water is leaving. All right?
Yeah, it's draining because of the fissures that are occurring, and that's part of the issue that they need to repair.
I'm serious. I mean, you sit in the boat and see the water just not turbulent, just
Yeah.
That correct.
oh, the hell is that? If they fall in that, where are you going to end up? Dead, but because it's sucking water out.
It's a full.
There's fissures out there, and
Fissures that are open.
people don't realize because it's just like a stock tank. If people lose water, why? Because of the roots of the mesquite trees that it died, it creates a hole in the berm, and the water goes out.
Hay que echarle su lupo. Look at this boat.
To the excuse, I have one.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Mr.
You see
Yeah, I get it.
where we're at?
Yeah.
It's just, it's big, this issue is big.
Mr. Blanco would like to make a comment.
Thank you, Mr. Benavides. I'd like to recognize Mr. Garcia and also thank him and continue to encourage him on this face-to-face human interaction, and where he is 100% committed into seeing our community prosper and always have the waters to provide for the taxpayer, because the human face-to-face interaction has so much more value than Zoom meetings, phone calls, right? And although the COVID thing is gone, it came and it went, hopefully it'll never return.
Oh, it's here, it'll never leave, it's a fluke.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's a fluke. Well, nevertheless, the face-to-face human interaction carries so much more weight into what we want to accomplish for humankind. Right? And the open communications as we are right now, and where Mr. Benavides has granted me here the floor, also goes a long way. And I just wanted to share that with you, in which I feel personally, can't speak for the entire board or the entire taxpayer, that you're doing a superb job
Thank you.
here. And please continue doing that. And with that, I would like to yield.
Thank you. I just want to comment on it, and I think it's because of the staff that I'm surrounded with and changing of their mindset, and I think we're looking all towards getting our superior water quality and achieving those goals, and they want to accomplish that. All the employees around here, every 300 and some employees that we have, they're taking pride in their job. We don't like hearing that we're not doing a good job. We don't like hearing that we're producing bad water. You know, they take pride in their work.
And if I may rebut with a little humor, and you're also, you're polishing up your political skills too.
I'm not running for office.
Very good, very good. Anyway,
I yield.
thank you, Mr. Blanco. Yeah, any other comments?
I think we have a presentation on it.
Yeah, sure. Okay, I was getting. So, we don't need to vote on the Amistad water, you know, it was just a communication thing. Now, we're gonna get into number 6, the distribution system.
That, I want to introduce Mr. Tony Mora, the third. He's the superintendent of distribution.
Yeah, you look on the, and go back.
My old man.
Hand second.
Well, if anybody don't know me, I'm Tony Mora III. I'm second generation utility operator. Fell this by accident. You know, used to tell my dad, used to see him come in, working late hours, doing water main repairs. I tell him I'll be coming to the club, taking a tazo, looking like, I look at him, he was all pale white. You know what? I'm never gonna do your job. I'm gonna go do something else.
Yeah.
Brief stint with the oil field, I ended up in the water treatment plant, and here I am. To give a little feedback, you know, we're gonna go over the distribution and transmission. If you have any questions, go ahead and feel free. Hey, gentlemen. So currently, right now, the distribution division is responsible for increasing the customer satisfaction by providing uninterrupted service with sufficient water output and adequate pressures at all times. Our customers consist of residential, commercial, industrial, water consumers, as well as fire protection. Our division improves the water pressure by looping water mains and restructuring various pressure zones. Look at, what are you looking at pressure zones? I thought, you know, we all feed one pressure zone. We look one of the maps back here. This is our pressure zone maps. We have several pressure zones out in the infrastructure. This helps us maintain water pressure in certain areas. We know Laredo is not flat land. We have various elevations, so that it consists of different pressure zones. And we're also responsible in maintaining approximately 1,180 miles of transmission, distribution water mains. Lines, 9,361 fire hydrants, and we provide training for
our guys, the heavy equipment operators go get their CDL licenses, and our water operators get their TCQ water certifications. What you're seeing here, we got the guys installing a fire hydrant in one of the intersections. Our division consists of 5 administrative personnel, 3 maintenance supervisors, 7 utility systems crew leader, 1 water quality supervisor, 4 water quality flushers, and 3 servicemen nightmen with 2 line locators. We're looking to expand this. This is what I have to surface all over Laredo. And believe me, it's been challenging, but we're keeping up. For the past year, distribution, we responded to 596 water line breaks throughout the city. And also staff has replaced a total of 4,041 feet of water lines. You didn't say this is with 7 crews. I'm having to accomplish these things. My guys work average 16 hours a day. Sometimes we have to pull where we go 22 hours, 24 hours till I can get another crew to replace them. Sorry that Luis Ramirez didn't show up, but I want to give him props. Because the year we had a big freeze, I had to contract his company he works for, to help us with these water line breaks. And I just want to give him props because we worked together. It wasn't that, hey, you know what, this is for my business. No, this is our hometown. We need to take care of it. So you can see a couple of water mains breaks out there. People say, no, we don't have no water pressure. Believe me, there's water pressure out there. These are some other line breaks. You know, water lines, people think, oh, they all run in the streets. No, we don't. We run in, sometimes we run by the driveways. I have to replace this beautiful driveway right here. Over here, this is my favorite one. That's where your water meter is. People look at those curb stops and that says, oh, that's mine. I can close it and open it to fix my my leak inside the house. That curb stop is actually city property.
That's really a good example because I'm surprised you didn't have to run into that being built inside the concrete, because a lot of home builders would like to put that on the driveway or in the sidewalk.
If you see
They don't want to move it, my gosh. We'll just pour concrete around it.
This is a condo. The maintenance guy that says, oh, I had a leak, let me fix it. You know how to open and close that corporation stuff, that curb stop. Touched it, that thing blew right up at him. So what does he do? Well, he's got no water inside where the leak was, now I got the leak out here.
Yeah.
So now I gotta call my service guy, go out there, try to see if we can put a curb stop on the fly without disrupting water service, which my guys, you're gonna get wet.
Yeah.
This is my other favorite one. There's a lot of boring contractors, boring to run gas lines, fiber optics, communications. Oh, I'm just gonna go right above their water main. Right above it, till that reamer starts hitting it. Oh, I'm gonna pass it, I'm gonna be right above it. Hit that main line. Then they got our bills, but wait a minute, it wasn't our property. Oh, believe me, we take pictures. Here's the guys doing a water line replacement. At the same time we're doing this water line replacement, we're doing it with existing services still running, so not to interrupt service. We get the designs, all, just lay the pipe, you're clear and everything, you'll be fine. When we start digging up, hey, guess what? You got sewer lines, you got gas lines, telephone lines that you're gonna have to relocate those lines. So sometimes I gotta come back and go, hey, I'm gonna have to move that line a little bit this way, because guess what? Storm drainage popped up that was covered up by asphalt that nobody knew about it. Also, this past year, we went into a maintenance program with Clay Valve to maintenance all of our 16 pressure regulating valves out of the infrastructure. We found some that haven't been touched since they got installed. Most of these pressure regulating valves, you set it, you forget it. People tend to forget. You still got to do maintenance work on these things. By doing this, the maintenance was replacing of the rubber goods, which is your inside, your ball valves, your Y strainers, your pressure regulating valves. And by doing this, we were able to improve our water pressure out in the infrastructure. We were looking at PRVs that were like, oh, it's giving me 50 PSI. Well, why is this subdivision has no pressure? Something's going on with this thing. Contractor came in, hey Tony, guess what? This thing was stuck in one certain position. That regulating wasn't doing anything. Now they're working the way they're supposed to. What you're seeing here, you're seeing the 16-inch one and an 8-inch PRV. This is your low flow, this is your high flow. We'll set this at 70 PSI. This is gonna be enough to maintain your normal water pressure in a subdivision. But in case there's a fire or anything, we'll set this 5 pounds less and this will kick in. At the same time, we have throttling valves on there so we don't water hammer the system. It'll gradually open and gradually close. Until the pressure gets satisfied to 70 PSI, this one closes, and this one always stays open. This, I guess everyone knows about the boil water notice that we've had 2 years ago, or 3 years ago. We established a flushing program. Our staff monitors and maintains a total of 50 automatic flushing devices, which are these, out in the infrastructure. The staff also manually flushed a total of 150 sites for a revised total call of 4 rule. This is where we collect 150 sites of water samples to make sure that the water's safe to drink out there. And also we're flushing dead ends. Currently we have a total of 1,342 dead ends. 230 of them are along US 359. Someone mentioned Pueblo Nuevo. 124 along Mines Road, 802 along Cuatro Vientos, 165 on the north of 535, and we got 21 at Unit 10. Our engineering department is currently working on eliminating these dead ends by looping the systems.
Where it's possible, but like Pueblo Nuevo, you know?
No. What kind of loop that system?
Yeah.
Can't.
It was built like a fish bone. One bone and dead end, dead end, dead end, dead end, dead end.
Well,
Terrible.
I'm sorry, you were not here, Mr. Tijerina was here in one of our first or second meetings. He mentioned that, and that y'all were looking at the possibility of, hopefully doing what you just mentioned. Where are we at with that right now? Like on 359, there's no 9 out of, not yet. Well, he mentioned it, that's why I bring it up.
No, they're still working on it, planning the design on how to do it, because there's still developments coming up, and that changes our plan, how we're gonna do this.
No. Just a question.
No.
I have a question in regards to the flushing where that worker was there opening the hydrant to clear the system of possible contaminants. This water, can it be used for like any other purpose besides being potable water? What I'm getting at, this is what I'm getting at. Can it be safe for somebody to use it to water the plants, to wash the car, or whatever, to put it in a holding tank?
This is something that we
It costs, I know it has a cost.
It's a cost, there's gonna be a cost to it. Right now, I don't have the staff. The cost, you're gonna need, the average amount of gallons of water that we use to flush, we're looking at 6,000 gallons. That's a tanker that I have back there.
Okay.
That tanker's only used for emergency purposes.
Quickly,
Yes, sir.
quickly, based on that. And I know it's hard, but it might not be impossible. Getting these big companies that have tankers and say, hey guys, we're gonna flush 6,000 gallons of water, instead of, if, let's say, oh, I mean, just a question or a comment, instead of, no, what I'm saying is, instead of you sell it for $1, let's say a gallon, okay, if they said that can, we'll sell it to you for 50 cents. I mean, like.
1,000 gallons is costing you about $3.50
Okay,
on average. Let's just round up to 4. He says 6,000 gallons. The tanker's gonna hold 4,000 gallons, right?
okay,
It's $24 for one tanker.
okay.
I could give that water away, and there's not one contractor that would come pick it up for $24 to save $24. Why? The tanker, the gas, the crew is costing him $68.
He'd rather go get it at the temporary.
I'm giving it to him where he wants it at the fire hydrant.
Also, I can water my concrete when they do that.
So it's economically
Yeah.
not worth it. It's kind of like if you were a baker trying to sweep up the extra flour just to make another donut.
Yeah.
It's just spoilage. It's just, you know, it's going in the back of HEB. I know it's life, but it's $4, 1,000 gallons.
And I'll get back to
We
you.
have to kind of move it out of the system because of,
We are doing that. When we have people applying for their hydrant meters, I start asking, where's this gonna be at? Well, he's asking for right here. Put them at the farthest,
yes.
put them at a dead end.
Make
Let
them
him,
go-
let him.
Yeah.
So it's helping us.
I'll see that.
No, I'm glad you're doing it, you know, that's okay, like, but we're recycling, you know what I'm saying, that's good, that's good.
But you always know where they do the release because it's nice and green all the time.
No, good, no, thank you.
No. And then in 2019, City purchased CityWorks. CityWorks, what it is an asset management program. This helps us to know our inventory, what our utility assets are underground. Get to know how many valves we got that out there, fire hydrants, water lines, water mains, sizes. And it also tells us, you know, we started using this thing to be able to determine how much is it costing me to fix that line? How many times have I gone there? So by the time we go in there, start excavating, I guys already know, and you know what, we've been here 3 times. We're putting a piece of pipe. We're putting a stick of pipe here.
So
what you see-
next to my phone company when that's through.
So what you see here, this is a monthly report that I generate. This tells me all the water line breaks that we've had, which is your water mains, your service lines. And also it generates a map, tells me what are my hot spots. When I start looking things like this, I start getting my valve guys out there. You better go look for me for some valves, because we're having issues here. Why are we popping just here? 2 things, either there's a valve closure, or I need to start getting a project going so we can do a water line replacement in that area. So this program has been working very well for us.
That's good.
And this is what you see a work order. It'll give me a cost, size of line, if it was severe, type of material, where's the pressure zone, where's it coming from? And our water loss, gives me all that information. So this program, when I got it, started learning more about it, I enjoyed it, I liked it, learned how to work with it. Gentleman calls me, hey, I have a meeting in 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I need a report. Generate it, here you go, take it, run with it.
I'm chuckling because what you're doing is what I did 50 years ago when I went to the Ford company, just find out what my problem was.
Yeah.
And my rain source was heat burger.
For future developments, our division is continuing with the water line replacement projects, and we're looking to add a real-time pressure monitoring system. So I'm gonna know what the pressure's doing in each and every single pressure zone now. I don't have to wait for a phone call. I don't have to wait for that operator to call me and tell me, hey, something doesn't look right here. That's one thing I want to mention. The operator. Communication now was non-existent. Well, with Mr. Tijerina coming on board, communication has gone so much better that my guys can reach out to his guys reach out to my guys. We communicate, we see issues in the system, we're able to jump on it faster and quicker. And also we've also looking into purchasing additional valve exercising machines to maintain the system. And insert valve equipment to insert emergency valves in our water lines from 8 to 12 inch. These are our old water lines that we have out there, so I don't have to interrupt services. Instead of having half of the city without water, I can insert one of these and it'll just be a section of it. Because sometimes we get into places where these valves no longer work. What's going on? That bro, stand there, can't get in there. Instead of having a contractor come out here and do this job, I got my guys that can do it. So we continue to add more, we're looking to continue to add more personnel, just to keep up with the city's growth. City's growing. That's why I sit down with Mr. Garcia. Tony, you need to start looking. You need to start where you're gonna start separating south and north. South and north. Yeah. So that's my presentation. Thank you for inviting me.
No, thank you, Tony.
Thank you, Tony. Say hi to your dad.
Will do, sir. Will do.
You still over there?
With Mr. Deutsch?
The
5D ranch? No, actually, he's, yeah, he had back surgery. He had six discs. So he's kind of slowed down. I got to make sure to check up on him by noon. Get your ass home.
I
I
used
know
to-
this is out on the street.
I used to be next door with Bertle Slide.
Okay.
So I don't get out, told you, he would go, I would help Bertle and Tony would help Mr. Deutsch, and we would see each other.
Mhm.
You know,
So that's only the baseball, the softball player?
Yeah.
The one that, at the Deutsch Ranch?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Really?
Yeah. I played with fire department too.
Yeah, I met him once, I went out there for the fire department's pension, was hosting the state convention, and they had a big, dinner out there.
Yeah.
So they sent me out there and I met him.
Yeah, he was maintaining that ranch, and I would go out there and help him from time to time, put out these well pumps from the river and stuff like that.
once again, Tony, thank you, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
it's already,
Yeah.
Thank you.
it's already 1 o'clock, and I know that some of this guy's work, and.
I got a meeting with him later.
I'm gonna go take a nap.
As long as he's here on your.
So we don't need to vote on this, right?
No, it's just a presentation.
Presentation,
Very
okay?
good, very good presentation, Tony.
Thank you.
Thanks for that, Tony.
Then we're gonna go to,
It gives us hope.
item number 7, it's topic for next meeting.
That's, I guess, the legislative effort.
Yes,
Legislative,
sir.
yeah.
Okay,
See
that's
what we
awesome.
gotta do to get it rolling.
And then, well, number 8, it's, adjourn our meeting, or if there's any comments or,
Real quick, just on that legislative efforts, when's the, you talked about DC, when's that DC meeting? Do you know?
Well, I know I'm having a meeting next week, I'll find out, and
Yeah.
I'll communicate that to you all, but via email.
But there's the Austin meeting before the DC.
Well, no, Austin's every other year.
Oh.
Austin's every other year.
Other year,
It's not
every
this
2
year.
years.
Yeah, so,
Um,
we did Austin last year.
Yeah. So I know they're planning a DC trip, and in fact, I'll be discussing, because I mentioned the Amistad issue, because that symposium that I intended, we need to focus on Amistad. We need to make sure that it's taken care of.
Yeah,
Make
that
it
one,
a frontline item.
that one really needs to be brought up at the DC level. I know it's more of a state and regional county issue, but
But
because of
IBWC
IBWC.
is asking for the locals to make Amistad a front page issue.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So we're getting support from IBWC on this?
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome.
So that we can fund how they did the Colorado River, fund the efforts for the Rio Grande.
Yeah, well, that needs to be a big topic with.
Anyways, go to that.
Yes, yes.
For topic for the next meeting, if you can get us some information on what's the status on the Pecos River and how it affects the Rio Grande.
Okay. No, I'll get you the overall watershed, I'll get the map and what I'm getting on the information that I'm compiling for Amistad also. Like, I wanna try to get you the information on the reports, the last reports that were done, so you're familiar with that.
Thank you, thank you, sir. Any other comment? No?
I think I've said enough for one day.
I think so. Yes, well, I want to thank you once again for being here, and hopefully we can make it January, the second week of January, and because I'm sorry, my son is in track season, and it was very hard for me to be.
No, I understand, and I get busy, we all get busy, and I really appreciate your efforts, and I know my staff, I appreciate their efforts, and they appreciate your recognition of them too.
Yeah,
I
thank you.
think,
Well, like you said, you know, if it wasn't because of them, you wouldn't be where you're at, so.
It's definitely a lot better now.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
I like that, and I thank them because of that, because they're the ones doing the team, they're making the team effort.
It was you three that you were here in the past that tried to help us much, because Matt, you all were here.
Yeah, Onyx and I were on the previous group, I guess.
It makes it a lot easier for us. Thank you guys.